15 degrees, you can see your breath. Out here in the lake of fact, breaking tables like it's poetry. Where else would you rather be? Pinto, Ron, Elvis, and the lay poncho. The members that you need to know. 'Cause once you out here now, your family. Where else would you rather be? Where else would you rather be?
Welcome into the Nickel City Crew. I am your host, Rob Crippen. Please like us on Facebook and follow us on Instagram and Twitter at Nickel City Crew. This episode, along with all of our episodes, are presented by Crippen Legacy Entertainment here on Spreaker and StreamYard. We're so glad that you're joining us for some of your Buffalo Bills and NFL content again today. And as always, these are my Bills thoughts said out loud.
It's a vibe so ridiculous. Since 12 plus 83 was 6. The shout rocking like a symphony. Where else would you rather be?
All right, let's get straight to it. I'm really excited for tonight's episode. It's been one that I've been thinking about for a little bit over a week now. And it was a situation where I just had to get some things off of my Bills Mafia chest. And I am so delighted to do so, because when I get fired up about a topic and kind of a little bit invested emotionally, I think that's when some of the best content comes out. So again, the original impetus of the show was to get my Bills thoughts said out loud. Joining me as always, my co-host, holla at the crew, Adam Dumpchuck Rupsick at Adam Rupsick on Instagram, RUPCZYYK. What's up? What's up, DT?
Nickel City.
What's up,
Back
man?
in action. Heat wave. It's heat season.
I heard it's
We
hot
haven't even
up
hit
there,
June.
man.
Heat season up in the buff. We're enjoying it. Got the air conditioners in. It's we buckled down for the summer, and you know what happens after summer, Rob? We strap them up. So let's go, Nickel City.
Let's get them pants got to clacking. Start the clickety clacking, man. I can't wait, man. We are inching towards training camp, and OTAs are upon us, and just some different things that come to the table that kind of I don't know, man. It just didn't sit right with me, DT. So it was something that I wanted to get off my chest. I am so happy tonight. As always, we give respect where honor and respect is due. Shout out to Jay Spence the King over at Buffalo Rumblings. He hooked me up with this young man. And as always, I mean, I'm just so grateful. I'm honored him joining us once again. Justus General Radford at JA17MVP on Twitter. What's good? BuffaloFAMBase is in the building. We simulcast on BuffaloFAMBase on our weekly broadcast, DT, and it literally is on a road paved by General, man. Justus, salute, General. What's up, man? I'll let the crew.
Man, thank you so much for having me, man. First of all, I've been meaning to tell you this, but you have one of the greatest intros ever.
Oh, yes.
And that voice, man, when it comes, Brian,
we love Richard. Shout out to Richard Music, right? Right, DT. Shout out to Richard Music, man.
Yeah.
It's funny you said that, Justice, because I'm getting ready to reach out to him and let him know, hey, man, the schedule came out. He promised us that he would come to a game next year, so we want to invite him out for the Vegas game for the home opener, because that's kind of like a holiday for us. So I really appreciate you saying that, man. We love that song, and yeah, man. I mean, the intro just always gets me started, man. It gets me going.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a video for that.
Yeah, I think about the video maybe twice a day. I don't know, maybe once a day on a bad day. So I think about all the different lyrics and the ways that we can kind of cut that. Listen, man, fellas, I'm really happy that you guys joined me tonight, because all jokes aside, it was really something that was on my Bills Mafia spirit, guys. There's been a little bit of disrespect going around, and I wanted to kind of nip it in the bud. I thought that I did last season, DT, and I guess it's not. It hasn't been drilled home enough. I know that the Cincinnati game was a real stinger for Buffalo Bills fans, for Bills Mafia, Nickel City Crew. It was a situation where, we felt like there was a lot left on the table that we didn't accomplish. Now, Stefon Diggs, fellas, has kind of come under a little bit of scrutiny. And what I mean by that is I've heard content creators and hosts on WGR comment on the fact that he has not been at OTAs, even though I could have swore that OTAs were voluntary. I've heard different guys talk about the fact that they need to hear from Stefon Diggs, that they need to hear something from him after his kind of quote unquote blow up on Josh Allen on the sideline in the fourth quarter that we're going to get into. Listen, it's a situation where I don't think that the Bills Mafia quite grasps Stefon Diggs. I kind of liken him to, fellas, a little bit of, Dennis Rodman, a little bit of Russell Westbrook, D Wade. He's fashion conscious. He's socially conscious. He kind of moves to the beat of his own drum. He's kind of that I don't give a fuck type mentality. But as I was telling DT pre-show, the same things that we love about Stefon Diggs, the people love to hate about him. The same type of tenacity and passion that he brings to his craft are almost the same type of darts that people use against him. And it was something where it was kind of rubbing me the wrong way. And I wanted to know what you guys thought about it, because I was getting ready to play a clip from YouTube from right around Super Bowl time. And it was just, I've been hearing a lot of chatter about Stefon Diggs, DT General. Like, what do you feel about Stefon Diggs? Because it seems to me that everybody is upset, or again, not everybody, but there are a lot of Bills Mafia portion of the fan base that are upset that he yelled at Josh Allen in the fourth quarter of that Cincinnati game. And I know for me personally, me and DT, we've already talked about it before. I was frustrated as hell walking back to my car after that game and that performance. So I could only imagine what it was like to be a player. DT General, please speak to me a little bit before I play this clip to give us a little bit insight of what Stefon Diggs was thinking about. What do you guys think about him, man? Like, he is very mercurial. He's very polarizing.
Well, it's a tough one to really gauge, Rob, in general, because it's the fact of who really believes this. Like, there's a lot of talk about it, and I think the mainstream media is putting a lot of effort into portraying this. I mean, after that loss, it was the clip that played on repeat on all these daily talk shows on ESPN. It's what GR and everybody talked about, and then
got his hands
doesn't
out.
show up. Doesn't show up. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't show up to OTAs, and it's the same thing. It's on repeat on all these shows, and so I think it's what they're trying to make us think and trying to cause a little uproar. I don't know is the fact that there's a lot of if you really push came to shove, a lot of the mafia really doesn't like it. I think it's just something to talk about, and the media is stuffing it down our throat, but it's still not right. 1-4 is who he is. He's as good as he's a world class, as I said earlier, because of his tenacity, and we'll get into that a little tonight. But that's my main take from it. I hope at least the mafia isn't as down on him as the media says.
Dump Truck thinks it's fake, General. I swear to you, I listen to WGR every day. This is not fake, man. I hear this type of rhetoric going around. Why isn't he at OTAs, General? Why isn't he this? Why isn't he that? What is he not? They talk a lot about what Stefon Diggs is not, and I don't think they focus enough on the fact that he is a two-time captain, voted by his peers. And I don't know, man. I just feel a lot that there's something murky going on in the water. I'm not really comfortable with it.
Yeah, so I'm gonna let you guys know now. Bills Mafia has become a wee bit spoiled.
Okay. Explain to us. Explain to us.
Okay. So when you take a team and you make them garbage, all right, for 20 years.
Okay.
You would think that the fan base would have a little bit more of humility, right?
Okay.
People are calling for Sean McDermott's job.
Okay. I mean, Nicholson, we haven't yet. I mean, but he's on the clock. He's on the clock.
But that's the
Nicholson
thing,
crew.
right?
He's on the clock.
We become a little spoiled.
Okay.
Right?
Okay.
This man changed the entire culture of our city.
Okay.
And because he can't win in late January, we're calling for his job. He gets us to late January.
Okay.
But bro gotta go. You gotta change everything. You know what I mean? So what you know what's crazy?
We're not there yet. Okay.
Is I understand the impulse of that thought process, right? Bruh, you suck in the playoffs. You turn into a whole weirdo in the playoffs.
Yeah, it's a change. It's a change for Nicholson.
Something got to give,
right? DT.
But on the other hand, he has to learn, and just like I'm sure he wasn't the perfect coach at first, he has to learn, right? But I say all this to say that we have one of the most unique circumstances in NFL history.
Okay. How so?
We have an alien, right?
That's what DT talks about.
Something
that's how he talks
interdimensional.
That's how he talks about Josh Allen, man. He's
this guy is a legitimate, literal unicorn. He's not of this planet. Okay.
Okay.
He is our quarterback.
Yeah.
For years to come.
Okay.
Kid's not even 27 yet, right?
Right.
And then we have maybe one of the best route runners that has ever stepped foot on a football field.
Yeah. Jerry Rice, Chris Carter. Yeah, he's right up.
He's
up there. He's on it. He's on there. Yeah.
He's up there.
List. He's on the short list. Yep.
And people are like almost getting tired of it. It's like, it's like winners fatigue, right? Why LeBron James didn't get the MVP every single year, right? Why didn't Kobe Bryant get the MVP every single, right? It's kind of that thing, right? And when you look at it, I think that our team also has a very cool dynamic that other teams don't have, right? What's the point of the three branches in the the executive branch, judicial,
the government, the checks and balances. Everybody checks.
Checks and balances, Rob. Thank you so much. All right. What did Kanye West say? No one man should have all that power.
I mean, DT. It's interesting.
I'm sorry. Hold on. You have a quarterback who is maybe the most talented quarterback that has ever played.
Right.
And when he's as good as he is, if you leave his ego unchecked, it could become catastrophic. Right. So if you have a strong-minded wide receiver whose cachet is up there, where you're like, yo, you gotta see me. All right. I ain't one of these, you know what I mean? I'm me. And I'm me. And I helped you become you.
Yeah.
You helped me become me too. But you gotta see me, right?
Yeah.
So when I consider that, and it's like you look at Aaron Rodgers, right? Devontae Adams is there. Oh, it's already too late. Aaron Rodgers is already in set in stone in who he is, right? I'm one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. I'm in the prime of my career. You're really good, but I mean, you can't tell me anything. And that made Devontae Adams leave. Right. And what's cool about Josh Allen is he had incredible upside, but he was also humble, right?
Yes.
So as he's grown, he's retained that humility and being humble, but his ceiling has shattered, right?
Absolutely.
He can do whatever he want to do now, right?
Absolutely.
So we have one of the most unique circumstances ever where we have two phenomenally just talented players, and they both can check each other.
Okay.
And I think that goes.
That's important, though. I think that's important.
It is. It's important.
DT, see, when we go back to the scene of the crime, and one of the, some of the rhetoric that I hear on this subject is, okay, you look at that meme that you're talking about on Twitter, and I looked at it today just to kind of refresh my memory, and it was fourth quarter, 7:25 left, 4th and 6. Stefon was open. Like, I watched the play, and he was open, and he yelled at Josh. He goes back to the sideline, and his arms are out. DT, his arms are flailing. You can see the white gloves in the snow, and his arms are extended wide. What I have posited to Bills Mafia, to Nickel City Crew, what I've tried to explain to people is that this was a culmination of events. This was a culmination of missed opportunities that led to this frustration. It was not just the 4th and 6th play. It is the play in the first quarter when Josh Allen missed him when they were down 7-0. It's earlier in the season. I can't wait to get ready to play this clip because the clip, I feel like it, Stefon Diggs, DT, has been leaving us breadcrumbs on what is bothering him. And what bothers him is when they lose. And what bothers him is that he puts in the hard work and that there's no fruit at the end of the tree. And I think that he is such a dog. He is so focused on his task and his operation of how he makes and goes about doing his job that I just think that he is just not here for the bullshit. And I think it rubs some people the wrong way, DT. And that's Bills Mafia. That's the media. That's whatever the case may be. And I am not bothered by his tenacity. And I think that that's what rubs some people the wrong way. That's why I said Rodman, Russell Westbrook. He's kind of got that brash mentality, that outer exterior where I don't give a fuck. But you know one thing about me? I want to win. And everybody knows that.
And when that's his number one thing, winning is everything. And you look at this, a time where society's gotten soft. We'll all be honest, Rob. You probably see it more than anybody, with your kids growing up and seeing everybody soft and every participation trophies all the way around.
Yep.
And there isn't none of those in the NFL. And the same fans that are bitching about Stefon Diggs getting pissed that we lose are the ones saying, "Oh, well, it's not good enough." Like the general said, we're not we're spoiled. Now it's not good enough when we're 13-4, But they're the same fans saying Stefon Diggs can't be acting like that either when he's not winning. The only reason he's acting like that is because we're not winning. It's not like he's going out there week in and week out crying because he didn't have a great fantasy day. He can give a shit about the stats.
Nope,
it's all about winning and losing, and that's what it is, Rob. I mean, straight up, if we need the checks and balances, we need the dog on our team to hold people accountable. That's, I don't want to get too off on a tangent here, but that's what 17 is going to need to grow into to be a Hall of Fame quarterback. I don't blame anything he's done thus far, but to take that next step, you're going to have that Stefon Diggs in you. You're going to have to be the one out there yelling at your team on the sideline. You don't think Tom Brady's ever tore into his team? You don't think Jim Kelly tore into those boys? They do it all the time. Joe Montana, Elway, Peyton Manning, straight up, hold each other accountable. And Josh is, instead of doing that, he just puts the cape on and says, fuck it. All right, they didn't run the route how they were supposed to. I'm gonna rip this, right? So So on the reverse end, Josh has to take that next step and get a little more Stefon Diggs in him and be the one on his sideline. Somebody misses a route, he's over there with his hands out looking at him. We don't know what Stefon Diggs was saying to Josh Allen.
No,
we don't know what they were saying.
We don't.
Back in the Browns game, when the game got moved and they were struggling in the first half, Stefon Diggs wasn't getting looks. He went over that famous, where he's talking to McDermott. McDermott's consoling him on the side. What do they do the next series? They come out and Josh Allen literally throws his arm off, getting it to him in the back of the end zone for the touchdown before the half. And they knew they needed to get 14 going. We live and breathe through 14 right now with the energy, and he brings it. And so that's what it's ridiculous that it's gotten to this point, because the people that'll say, he's a diva, which came kind of from his past, right? That's why he left Minnesota. So he comes here and looks at people wrong. It's like, oh, because he's a diva. Oh, because it's this and that. But he just wants to win. That's all it is.
I'm so happy that you said diva, though. I'm so happy that you said diva, and I'm so happy that you talked about Minnesota, DT, because that leads into the clip. So this clip, DT, is from Super Bowl week. And I'm so happy you said that, DT. We were on the same wavelength. Now, the conversation that you're about to listen to, Nickel City Crew, starts about Justin Jefferson. So Dan Patrick is asking Stefon Diggs, General, about Justin Jefferson. He's just coming off of the Offensive Player of the Year award. I want you to focus, because DT just hit on a specific point. What was the rhetoric coming up about Stefon Diggs when he left Minnesota, General? It was malcontent, right? It was he's got problems in the locker room. He doesn't get along with Coach Zimmer. He wants the ball more. I don't know any good receiver worth his salt, General, that doesn't want the ball. Listen to this and listen to your captain, your two-time captain, voted by his peers, not by Nickel City Crew, not by Bills Mafia, BuffaloFAMBase. No, by the people that go to work with him. They voted him a captain these last 2 years. Listen to him, Dan Patrick Show. This is right around the Super Bowl. Everybody is wondering and waiting for Stefon Diggs to show up to mandatory minicamp so that he can address something that he already talked about.
Yeah, that's your guy. Yeah, All right. Justin Jefferson got Offensive Player of the Year.
Yeah, he deserved it.
You okay with that?
He deserved it.
Okay.
I watched him close. He had a great year, especially from the receiver position. I also feel like, coming from
You want to pull that a little closer to you?
coming from an offensive-driven team, like their head coach was an offensive guy. That plays a huge part in like offensive scheme and what they're doing. So,
But no
Wow. Now, DT, did you not pick up that breadcrumb from Nickel City Crew that we have talked about many times? I like an offensive coach. The reason I want an offensive coach is not to know general. I'm not trying to push Sean McDermott out of the building. However, it is true that whether it's success or failure on the offensive side of the ball, Ken Dorsey will attract attention if he is good at his job, and Josh Allen lights up the league. If he is shitty, he's going to get fired. We are constantly going through OCs. I feel like Brian Dable was a gem that we had to let go. I understand the Bagulas were never going to fire McDermott to keep Brian Dable. However, if you heard your captain right there, he said it makes a big difference when it's an offensive coach. What kind of coach did he come from? Who was the coach general in Minnesota? Mike Zimmer, right? What side of the ball is he on?
Yeah, I mean,
he's on the defensive side, right?
Right.
Where's Sean McDermott? Cut his teeth.
Defense.
Okay, so as long as everybody's on the same page, again, I'm not saying more than what I'm saying. What I'm saying is let him talk. He's kind of leaving breadcrumbs about what's going on, some of the frustration. Let's continue.
Competition, like between wide receivers.
It's tough. I mean, he was getting a lot of targets too, and only people that would really touch the ball as much as him was the quarterbacks. So, I mean, I feel like he deserved it 100%.
Could you feel like America was rooting for you guys this year?
Oh man, 100%. From the beginning of the year, even from the previous year, I feel like everybody went in with the right mindset of just like, man, this year Buffalo should win it and do what they're supposed to do. So, and then with everything that happened, like the trials and tribulations, we had ton of injuries. We had things happen at the end of the year. I feel like it's like that feel-good story that you want so bad. Everybody wants that feel-good story, but sorry, but we live in the real world too.
Well, it was like a Disney movie. It just didn't have a Disney ending.
Yeah, it's like more so like a nightmare, maybe.
A nightmare. Did we not feel the same way, General, when we left the stadium, DT? When we left the stadium after Cincinnati, did it not feel like a nightmare? It felt like a nightmare. You heard your captain speaking to the blizzard. He's just not saying those words. He's not articulating it in that kind of way, but he's speaking to it. He's speaking to the trial, the tribulations that we have gone through. Weren't we in Detroit back-to-back weeks, fellas? I mean, come on, let's keep it real here at Nickel City Crew. Weren't we on the road in Detroit for back-to-back weeks? Didn't Von Miller get hurt Thanksgiving? Right as one star defensive player, Trey White, is coming off of an ACL injury. Another one goes to an ACL injury. Like, how ironic and fucked up is that day? Then we've got the blizzards we've got to deal with. We've got DeMar Hamlin, who later in the year dies on the football field, and they have to resuscitate him. You hear
17 was hurt all year.
Yes.
After that
game. Yes. I mean, they say Gabe Davis has been hurt. And they're talking a lot about D-Hop and how Gabe Davis had an ankle injury all year. So I just wanted you to hear that he's acknowledging the fact that we've gone through a lot. Listen to how he finishes up this conversation. And General, I want you to speak on this because this is what hit home the most for me.
But how do you describe the feeling that last game you walk off the field?
It was just disappointing. Damn sure frustrated. Everybody really put in the grand scheme of things of how long a year is. And our year was damn sure. I mean, it just felt that much longer with everything we had to go through and endure. So it just utter disappointment, frustrated, and it was like, well, shit, we did all this for this, and it seemed like a little bit not real. Like when we lost, and I was just like really like trying to let it register that like, damn, that's what we just did out there. So it was damn sure frustrating and disappointing.
I mean, so what else do you want from him? He's telling you exactly how he felt. He felt the exact same way that we felt leaving that game, which is, damn, we went through blizzards. We went through the massacre with the horrible shootings at Tops. We went through everything. We had a Matt Ariza weird situation to start preseason. We had everything go wrong. We had blizzards. We've got people, going to get Von Miller out of his apartment, out of his house, to go get him to Orchard Park, to get him in snowmobiles. We spend 2 weeks back to back in Detroit. We miss Christmas. Don't forget they miss Christmas. They miss being with their families. And like, I hear this, and I hear a man that is dedicated to his craft. We work all year for this shit. We work all year. So when I see him blow up on the sidelines, fellas, I don't look at it as him being a bad teammate. I look at it as the opposite, that he gives a crap enough. He cares about what's going on. And it's something that it just rubbed me the wrong way, man, how he's being painted almost as a bad teammate. And it's starting to feel like they're waiting for him to say something. And I can't wait for mandatory minicamp, because I don't think he owes anybody anything, to be honest.
So for me, I think when Rob talks, what people have to understand is, right, like, we come from an environment where we need that energy, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
For us, it's not always about having the perfect technique or,
Mm-hmm.
Being the fastest or the strongest. If you the most hype on any given play, listen,
you might be able to make something happen.
You can make some shape, right?
You can make some
you can make some shape, right? So when you have the dude in the middle of the huddle going to headbutting people, smacking people, pushing people around, you can't, like, that energy, that person is invaluable.
Can't replicate it. Thank you. Yep.
You have to appreciate everything that comes with that. You can't then be mad at that guy for being upset that y'all lost, right? You should be upset we lost. You should be as upset as he is that we lost. And that's why I love Diggs, because he's as passionate as us fans who've lived here for 30 and 40 and beyond years. Right. And he just want to win. He just want to win, and I appreciate that.
DT,
he's a fanatic. He's a fanatic of victory. He's a fanatic for victory, and as we see what we saw on the TV, right? But we don't see in practice when he's getting on somebody's ass for not running a hard route, when he's getting on somebody's ass for not touching the line in sprints, or, whatever cliche you want to say.
Yes.
When it comes down to it, you need that leader in the team, and you'd like it. It comes from Josh Allen, but it comes from the main man of energy of 14. He is the leadership of energy and emotion on this team. That's never been a secret. That's since we got him, and that's why we should like
part
it.
of the reasons,
why don't you like that juice? Why don't you like that fire when he catches a touchdown and tells the New England Patriots fans
DT. I heard WGR talking about after the game, how is he getting mad at Josh Allen, and how does he know what kind of pressure he was under, and this and that. And listen, what I always said to that DT, what I always said to that general was that, listen, I get mad at my flag football team after we spend 45 minutes practicing, and then my quarterback misses a read. And that is, in flag football, the most inconsequential. Everybody gets a participation trophy. Nobody is paid. I'm not paid. The parents. But what do I do at the beginning of every basketball season, at the beginning of every flag football season that I coach? I send an email to the parents. I tell the parents, we are keeping score. You are giving me your young boys, your young girls. We are going to try to win. I will coach your kids hard. I will not demean them. I will not disrespect them. However, if you're signing them up to be in a competition sport that is keeping score, we're going to try to win. So because of that, I get upset. I can't, and that's flag football. And I don't yell at the kids. I don't berate the kids. It's not about that. I do it in a nice way, but it's like, we just spent 45 minutes and we practiced every single concept, and you are looking to the wrong route. You're looking to the wrong one on this play, and you had Tyler wide open down the sideline for a Randy Moss touchdown. Now, come on, quarterback. And he'll laugh, and he understands that he missed the read. Could you imagine going to AdPro Sports Center every single day, General, every single day, Adam? And come on, DT, we're going to practice. We're going to work. People forget that this is their job. It is our entertainment. This is their job. They are compensated, and we practice this shit every fucking day for 5 days, and then we go out to the big game, and you're not looking at me. I'm the number one. That's what it looked like to me, that he was the number one. Right. I watched the play that he was mad about, and he was wide open, and he threw a contested catch in the corner of the end zone that was knocked down, and he came back to the sideline like, yo, it's 4th and 6, I'm your man. I'm your guy. I've been your guy, like Justus said, since you got here. Like you said, DT, since y'all brought me here and traded for me, I've been your guy. So don't not look at me in the biggest moments. I need you. You need me right now. Why were you not looking at me? Again, we don't know exactly what he said, but man, that is the energy I feel when I saw him on the sideline after I watched that route. I just don't cringe when I see professionals handling their business. I guess is the best way to say it, General.
And taking it seriously. And taking it seriously, Rob. I mean, it's if he didn't take it seriously, he would be crying to get traded and move out and go get his 150 somewhere, 150 a game somewhere else. It's hypocritical of the fan base and the media to think that they're going to criticize Stefon Diggs for doing this. If we go out and lose a game this year, if we go out and lose the opener to the Jets, what do you think the first 50 calls to WGR on Monday morning are going to be, Rob? It's going to be, DEFCON. It's going to be a bad situation. So you're getting mad at one of your best players on the team for also holding himself accountable and holding the team accountable. So that's why I go back to my first point I made tonight of I don't believe the Mafia really thinks that, because when push comes to shove, we're doing the same thing. You're making the call to GR and complaining about the loss, just like Stefon Diggs is complaining about the loss. So,
okay, let's finish this up, General. I want you to hear Stefon finish this, and I want to get your thoughts because it leads to the broader point of the locker room, which I know that you and I talked pre-show a couple days ago before the holiday weekend, and it was something that came up, and it just seems logical, and I don't get why people are not picking up on it. Let's finish this up, and I want to get your thoughts on this, General.
Yeah, and I understand your frustration. Yeah, and everything's on camera. Yeah, so we see you and Josh on the sidelines. Mm-hmm. But I'd rather that you had passion there than that it didn't bother you. I know that you've probably been asked about it, looked at it, talked to Josh about it. Yeah. But looking back on it, what should we know about that moment where you had words with him?
Well, looking back, it was just a that season that kind of shook out the way it did. I feel like the first 9 weeks we had a kind of like a formula, like a recipe for winning, and we kind of got away from it on the back end. You know what I'm saying? We were creating ways to win, but just how we were winning wasn't as smooth as the first 9 weeks. Yeah. So and I kind of tested that just throughout the season. We had a lot of ups and downs, and individually just trying to keep things tied together. It was just some crucial moments in the year that late in the season, late in the fourth quarter, it was opportunities and we didn't take advantage of. So I feel like that last I guess series or that last play, when you saw frustration, it wasn't necessarily just that play, but those moments built up to it.
Culmination.
Exactly. And for me, it was up to this point, we've seen quarterback and receivers as far as tandems and guys who play at a high level, and every quarterback has their guy. In those moments, you are the guy. You know what I'm saying? And up to this point, I've been the guy for my team and for my quarterback. So in those moments, of course, I want the ball. You know what I'm saying? I'm never apologize for that. I show you a good loser, I show you a loser. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, in that moment, it was fourth and whatever. Of course, I was one-on-one on the backside, and I wanted to put us in a position to win. So, I never apologize for passion, because we forget about this game, I guess. Some people say oh, don't be a sore loser, or, it's hard not to be frustrated. So for me, I always look at it as earlier in that season, we had a real scare. We had something that, we never thought we'll see. 99.9%, the thing with DeMar, you know what I'm saying? So it kind of put things in perspective for a lot of people, and it became real. That slim chance became real for everybody. We saw it. So it kind of seemed like we forget how much we're putting into this game until moments like that happen. And so when it's moments where we lose and people try to tell you to be a good sport, or, pat you on the back, this isn't Little League baseball. Nothing against Little League baseball.
I mean, what did he, General, what is he saying that's wrong? Tell me something that's false. Because the thing that I love most about 14 is that Captain Diggs speaks facts. He's not fake. You never are going to get fake from him. What did he say that was wrong, man? I don't get it.
I mean, he's saying you know how they ask, like, football players or basketball players questions, and because they have a brand and they make so much money outside of basketball, they have to maintain a certain
image.
image thing.
Yeah.
And I think Diggs does too, but at the same time, his image is like real. It's like, yo, I'm gonna spit real shit. Like, I'm gonna be,
yeah. Yes.
And it's pretty cool because, again, everybody is feeling the way he feels, or some variation of it. So why are we getting mad at him for saying it? Like, we felt the same thing. Like, what? Like, we, to get mad at him for saying it out loud, even though we're all thinking it, is kind of stupid. So I don't know who these people are who are mad at Diggs for not, being
yelling at Josh. He's not a
get
good
him next
teammate.
time.
He's
like,
not a good teammate. All I've heard a lot. I've heard a lot, man.
Yeah, like I don't know who you people are, but chances are you've never played sports. Chances are you've never been in like man, it's
and
that type of situation.
I'm looking at it as the opposite, Rob, as a positive. They thought they were the favorite all year. They went through all the trials and tribulations. They thought they had done enough to
put themselves in
be
position,
successful and put themselves in position, and they weren't. So this year, I think they're going to look at it like we thought we had it going last year, and we faced all that adversity and still thought we had it going, and it wasn't good enough. So this is, we have to work extra hard. We have to have that tenacity. We can't be okay with, missing me on 4th and 6. Like, it's not acceptable. And that's how I'm looking at it. It's kind of a positive of, we thought we had it all together, and we went through all that and still thought we had it all together, and then we didn't. Got our ass kicked at home.
I think
that's funny because our quarterback's kind of talking like that, fellas.
Our quarterback's on top of that, we did have it together. We completely could have won a Super Bowl this year and last year and the year before. It's the fact that we didn't. We folded under pressure. And I think that is the more frustrating thing, because if you go out and lose to the better team, you just lose to the better team.
That's it, man.
But if you go out and you are the better team and you lose, you feel sick.
Yeah, man, you do feel sick. And it's interesting because, you guys are hitting on some of the points that I really wanted to talk about tonight. So I really appreciate having you guys on, because, before we get to the locker room thing, it's funny, DT, that you said that, because I mean, honestly, the quarterback has been sounding like that as well. And I'm not in his personal business. We don't know. And I don't follow, him or his, ex-girlfriend or girlfriend or whatever the case may be. But, all Josh Allen keeps telling you is he's more focused, and he's more focused, and he's more focused, and he's ready, and he's ready. And not like I wasn't before, but I'm really, really ready now. Listen, I think that what Stefon Diggs is the energy that he's bringing, even without his physical presence in the building quite yet, because it's not mandatory yet. I think that he's bringing a level of accountability that, listen, it's fun that we all have handshakes. It's fun that we all have our unique handshakes with Josh. And it's fun that we put up 30 points or 40 points. I'm about a Super Bowl. I'm about getting one right now. I want one right now. And I think that he's getting ready to take more of a business approach. Not that you're not my boy anymore. Not saying that, DT. I'm not saying that, General. Y'all still my boys. I'm rocking with y'all. We can do these podcasts every week if you want. But when we come, you better be ready with your notes. You better be ready with your points. You better be ready with your hot takes, because I'm trying to take my shit to another level, and I'm not waiting on anybody. And I think that that's kind of the energy that he's bringing into this team, and especially into the offense, because I don't think he's really fucking around much anymore. And I think that that's kind of what he's telling you when everybody, I'm being honest, fellas, I have heard people are waiting. Bated breath. Sal Capaccio on WGR cannot wait for mandatory minicamp to come around. They can't wait for Stefon Diggs to get back to camp so that they can ask him questions. How are you and Josh? Is everything okay with you and Josh? I don't even know how many questions he really has to field on that type of stuff, to be honest, because if it was me, I wouldn't be handling anything. I would be telling him, did you not hear me on Dan Patrick during the Super Bowl? Did you not hear me on other shows? Did you not hear me on this and that? I love Josh, and he loves me. But I'm here to win the Super Bowl, and I just feel like that's the energy he's bringing.
Yeah, Jimmy Butler reminds me.
Ooh, I
He's
love
like
Jimmy.
the NBA Stefon Diggs.
Yes, I
right?
love Jimmy. Yes.
There was this clip
Yes.
I saw where I love this clip, right? Bam Adebayo has the Eastern Conference Championship, and he's, you know what I'm saying? He's telling Jimmy, like, here, hold it. He's like, nah, right?
Yeah.
And then you could read his lips, and he says, I'll hold the next one.
Ah,
That's the energy.
Yes.
That's the energy Stefon Diggs brings.
Yes.
Even from like their aura, they have the same
Yes.
something.
It's
that
a dog, man. Yes, that
you know
dog,
what I'm saying?
man.
Yeah, it's
Yes,
that
man.
dog. They both got that dog. And they do remind me of each other. Both guys who aren't necessarily the biggest, the strongest, the fastest, but they make it happen.
That's
by
Steve
hook or by
Smith
crook.
DNA, you know,
Yeah.
like Steve Smith undersized and will literally tear your
And
heart
will
out.
Talk to you and tell you about yourself after he obliterates you.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
I
get that vibe.
By hook or by crook, they're gonna get theirs, and they want to win. They just want to win.
Yeah.
And you know why people call them a diva? Oddly enough, it's because they always hold someone accountable because they want to win.
Right.
Yeah.
That's true.
And
That's true.
And look at the progression.
That's true.
As three years ago, Stefon Diggs standing out on the field watching the celebration of the Kansas City Chiefs. And,
hand on his helmet.
Let's
helmet.
take this in. Let's take this in. You know, let's not let this happen again. Next year, complete shock in the 13 seconds.
Right.
Then this year, it's like, all right, well, how much more do you want? How much leeway do you want? How much okay with this do you want us to be? Like, this
He
is
said he
we're
was
running
never
out of,
going to be okay with it. He
Yeah.
always wants the ball in that situation. He was
The
never going to
progression.
be okay with it.
It's not like he came in and started doing this. He's earned his stripes. He became the voted team captain 2 years in a row. He's earned to be able to speak his mind and show that type of emotion on this team.
Yeah, I mean, I agree. As we wrap up, I have to hit the locker room scene before we exit out of here. I really appreciate you guys and your time tonight, and you guys giving me a little bit of your free time because, again, this was an episode that I had to get off of my chest because mandatory mini camp is around the corner, and he will be back. Just like, you know, Matt Milano hasn't been at voluntary. Nobody's talking about Matt Milano being a malcontent. Wait, hey, man, Tremaine Edmonds left to Chicago, and you're the leader of the defensive linebacker group. Why aren't you there? He might be out with his wife. He might be out with his lady. They might be somewhere. He's enjoying his time because it's voluntary. But for Steph, they're talking about him. They cannot wait for him to get back. So before we close, I wanted to touch on the locker room scene. Again, you talked about a DT, two-time captain voted by his peers. Again, not by Nickel City Crew, not by BuffaloFAMBase, not by Bills Mafia, by the people that go to work with him. One of the biggest criticisms I definitely heard after the Cincinnati game when it comes to Stefon Diggs and why they were upset was no leader leaves the locker room. No leader huffs and puffs and does that. What I talked with General about the other day, right before Memorial Day, DT, you already know my stance on this. If I am mad at you, DT, and I love you like a brother, and I'm at your house, we are at the same house, or you're at my house, we are in the same dwelling, I might go outside to smoke a cigarette if you piss me off enough. Not because I don't like you, not because you're not my brother anymore, but because I need to go and calm down because something has happened that has pissed me off so much that I'm getting ready to either act out of character. Maybe I'll start throwing some shit. Maybe I'll start hitting some shit. Maybe I'll start hitting some people. I don't even necessarily know what I'll do. And because I know myself enough, I'm going to remove myself from the situation quickly. I'm going to go out on the porch real quick, smoke a cigarette. I'm going to grab a blunt real quick. I am going to try to do anything I can to do to relax and decompress because I've just left a high tension, a high emotional situation that I really do need to separate myself from. I cannot imagine putting your body on the line. We saw now with Damar Hamlin with an anomaly putting your life on the line. We already know that football is fucking dangerous. We all know that. Parents should know that if they let their kids play, that there is a level of danger to it. Listen, I can only imagine being in a situation where I pour everything. You heard Stefon Diggs say he gives everything to this general. He gives everything in the offseason to the Buffalo Bills to make sure that they're ready for those 17 weeks. And it doesn't turn out the way that it does, man. If I'm mad at you, DT, I might have to separate myself from you. Shout out again to Taiwan Jones, who got him back in the locker room before he actually got into his car. However, because that is a good look for a captain. However, man, I have no problem with, instead of Stefon coming in the locker room, turning over tables, turning over Gatorades, turning over snack tables, going absolutely berserk, he left the locker room. I respect that. That's called, to me, that's called control. That's called awareness. That's called self-awareness, understanding, General. Tell me that I am wrong about that assessment, because DT knows where I stand on that. I respected him more for leaving the situation as opposed to talking to the media, as opposed to being in the locker room when he was fucking red hot. I respect it more. They have it all twisted with this dude, man. That's why the episode is named the way that it is, man. They have him all misunderstood, all miseducation.
Yeah, I agree. I'm the same way, actually. Something happens, I'm not gonna give you my heart and soul to kiss. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not gonna sit here and spill my guts just for you to have some passive aggressive reaction or say something to really piss me off, really. You know what I mean? So I'm gonna be like, I'm gonna look at the situation. I'm gonna see if it makes sense, and ultimately, usually, because people are stupid, the best thing to do is to just detach real quick. You know what I mean? Step away from the situation. Cooler heads 9 times out of 10 prevail. And I, again, if you're
it just made they made it seem like it was a negative that he left the locker room, and I just didn't see it.
That's people who come in and they take it as a job, right? These are people who are like, oh, they paid me to do a job. My season's over now. I can go have fun with my money. Versus someone who is like, they're paying me to be a champion. I am looking at myself like a champion. I could give like the money. I earn the money. You know why I get paid so much money? Because you got to pay me that much money if you want me on your team.
Right.
You know what I mean? And it's because I bring that championship
mentality,
pedigree and mentality. It's because I make that's the reason why I make so much money. So you can't then sit here and tell me that I am working, to $140 million, worth of work. I'm doing $140 million worth of work. And you're going to tell me that I should calm down when y'all is not doing y'all job? No. You apologize to me. What are you talking about?
It's crazy. It's crazy.
And the coaching staff lets us down. And now you're going to tell me to calm down? You're going to tell me to come back into the locker room because I'm a leader?
I don't feel like
guys
talking.
are our leaders.
I don't feel like
you're
talking.
You're not doing your jobs. So, I don't blame Stefon Diggs for feeling the way you feel. Look, you get what comes with it.
And it's not like he did that in the middle of the season. They lose a game and he storms out. And this was the end game. This was the end-all, be-all. And it was what it was. And,
and that's a great point.
Yeah.
Because he wanted a championship.
Exactly. I like that, too. He doesn't get paid to play. He gets paid to be a champion. So, and he didn't achieve that, so he's not going to rest until that happens. And hopefully that mentality spreads to more people on this team and we can get that ring here. But the last point I'll make on this whole thing now to the current, OTAs and him not being there, which he's rarely ever has in his whole career.
No,
this isn't
he was
something
late
new,
last year.
to anything.
Give me a
but
break.
development is huge in the NFL. Look at how many top tier recruits come in and are nothing because they weren't developed correctly. And you can't put the meanest dog in the pen with the puppies, like you gotta let these kids develop a little bit in this offseason, get used to the NFL until it's until it's training camp, it's time to win, and then you bring that dog in and say, oh shit, we gotta run with this guy.
Now
it's time to go. But you
really
can't do that.
Receiver.
You can't do that. You can't do that shit right off the rip, or these kids are gonna be, scared to do anything out there. So that's kind of where I take with that. Give opportunity for people to step up and go into roles, and give Josh the opportunity to have that Stefon Diggs in him and start calling people out. And you didn't. I don't care if you're a rookie. You didn't run that route like that. Get off the field. Somebody else in here. And that's the opportunity. I think it lays with him not being there.
That was good. I like
very
that.
well said.
I like
that was
that,
very well. Because if Justin Shorter is out here routing you up in training camp, he's a dog. No, when Stefon Diggs comes to the field, it's going to be a whole different story.
It's going to be a whole different story.
That was very well said.
I like that a lot, DT. I like that because you're absolutely right. Because it's funny that, I was like, well, what are they complaining about? The other young guys are going to get reps. They'll get a chance to work with Josh and the other. I'm like, what are they? I'm like, wait a minute. Wasn't he not here last year until the last week, right before mandatory? Again, I've heard it. I know I'm not making it up. I've heard on WGR. Other avid WGR listeners, the Nickel City Crew, Buffalo Bills Mafia, know that I'm not joking when I say this. They have assailed at this guy, and now the new meeting point is getting ready for his coronation. His "Are you sorry for yelling at Josh at mandatory minicamp" interview. And I want you all to know that you don't have to hold your breath for that shit, because you might suffocate, you might pass out. I don't think he's getting ready to issue any more apologies or anything like that. He's already said that he's not okay losing. The one thing I've been watching, I've been watching a lot of The Last Dance. Again, it's my second go round of The Last Dance, and it's funny, Michael Jordan is damn near crying at the end. Episode 10, he's talking about, he said, you know what? I never asked a teammate to do something I wouldn't fucking do. And they're showing him first in sprints, and they're showing him first in workouts and stuff like that. And like, I just feel that that's the energy that Stefon brings to the Bills. I think that he is a dog. I think that he leads by example. I think that he will also lead by his vocals and make sure that in the locker room that his voice is heard. Who was the person that was ready to play when a man literally died on the football field and then was resuscitated? It was Stefon Diggs. If the Buffalo Bills had to get back on the field against the Cincinnati Bengals, do you know one player that was ready to play? It was Stefon Diggs. You saw all of the memes of him on the sideline, getting the guys amped up, getting them ready to go. There's nothing else we can do for our brother. He is alive. He's not dead. He's going to get top-notch medical care. They want us to go back out there. Let's go out and punch these motherfuckers in the mouth. I respected that. Then everybody says, okay, calm down. We're going to cancel the game. Okay. So then he decompresses and everybody goes home. But who was ready? What is the first thing Damar Hamlin asked when he woke up? Did we win the game? Yeah. Did we win the game? Was the first thing. So I like to know that I've got somebody like 14 in my corner that when it was literally life and death, he was there. He had my back in that foxhole. Literally, like you can't even say that it's figuratively. Literally life and death. He died on the field, was resuscitated, goes to the hospital. First question he asked, did we win the game? And had we had to play, Steph was ready. You saw him on the sideline. Everybody in America did on NBC, whatever station it was. Saw him ready, trying to get those guys amped up, man. It's invaluable. Draymond Green is invaluable to his culture. Russell Westbrook back in his heyday with Oklahoma City was invaluable to his culture. Even crazy Dennis Rodman, invaluable to the culture, because they do a lot of the shit that nobody else wants to do, DT. They do a lot of the dirty work, General, that nobody else wants to do. Not everybody feel like going to work every single day, but they're there. They're there early for workouts. They're there late after workouts. They're there. I think that is a trait that we need as Bills Mafia Nickel City Crew. We need to embrace this man as he comes back. Embrace him. Don't give him the cold shoulder. Don't make him think like you are sensitive because he yelled at your quarterback. Your quarterback can handle it. It's okay. I got y'all back on that. I mean, DT, you got quiet. I know he yelled at your quarterback. I know you love him, man. I mean, he yelled at Josh. Josh is a big boy. He's okay.
Yeah,
he's got it.
And like I said, Josh has got to take that step now to start yelling at people too. So we'll see.
I'm down with it, man.
Oh man,
go ahead, Justus, man. Have final word, man.
I said everything I can say. I feel so bad for both of them because it's like a saboteur almost, right? You got two brothers and they love each other. They work well together. And then somebody throws a monkey wrench, into the machine, the monkey wrench. And let's just call this monkey wrench, I don't know, Den Corsi. Right? Just something random.
Den Corsi.
Den Corsi. Right?
We got an episode coming up on him later.
So like somebody throws a monkey wrench into the system, and then the brothers fight because things are
Man, it was. I mean, you heard it.
I feel bad for them because. No, I was just saying I feel bad for them because Josh has to do everything because there's no creativity in the offense.
Yeah,
and 80% of the time he's looking at Stefon Diggs and he's getting double teamed, or the defense has shaded coverage his way, or whatever the case may be. It's like, I get it. Like, I wouldn't necessarily look at, like, if I look to you on first, second, and third down and you getting double teamed, I don't know. I mean, like, I know it's 4th and 6. I got a potential route for a touchdown. I think that I know I'm good enough to make the throw. I try to make it, but then he's pissed, and I can understand why. It's because I go back and I look at the film and I'm like, oh crap, he was wide open, right? But because Josh shouldn't have to be in that position, because his offensive coordinator should not be having his wide receivers run the type of route concepts that they're running in the snow. Right?
Oh man,
so now, I mean, he's put in a very awkward position. And by the way, back to what you said about Stefon Diggs, Rob, as far as the DeMar Hamlin situation, he should have never been put in that position either, right? They didn't know what was going on with DeMar at the time. They should have never been expected to get back on the field and play in 5 minutes, nonetheless. Right. And for him,
but I still respect the fact that he was ready.
Into the huddle,
that he was able to click that.
He goes into the
huddle,
he
was the one to do it,
and be able to be a leader of men. I think is another patch on his jacket.
Yeah, it really is another feather in his cap.
Yeah. To tall tale sign of, to that, back to the arms out 4th and 6. It's a sign that everyone has to get. Josh says, man, I don't ever want 14 yelling at me again. I better look for him. The linemen say, wow, we can't have 14 yelling at 17 like that. We got to block better so 17 sees. Yeah. The coaches say, wow, we can't have 14 yelling. We can't have 14 yelling at 17 like that. We got to find a way to get him open or tell Josh to see him. But, like, it's a chain reaction. And the OC, like General was saying, the
OC step his game up. You know what I mean? We'll talk about Ken Dorsey at length, and I think we should have you back on, General, for that, because you sound like somebody that we might want to talk to about Ken Dorsey, because we want to dig into him as well, because you're absolutely right. We talked about it here at Nickel City Crew at nauseum last season, DT. We talked about it. Something looked different about the offense after the bye week. It was just weird. It was harder. That Monday night game against the Packers was really the last time that we really saw the team. It started to just go in a different direction. Stefon Diggs talked about it. A lot of the guys talked about it. So it was really interesting to see the transformation of the offense as it kind of came down the stretch. So, I mean, it is what it is, man. I appreciate you guys taking the time out of your night tonight. I mean, I really do. I had to get it off my chest. I'm really excited for, obviously we got mandatory minicamp coming up in a couple weeks, and then they break again, and then our Bills will be heading out to Pittsburgh to St. John Fisher before you know it, man. I mean, it is really creeping up on us, fellas. So I really appreciate you, Justus, my man. Again, Justus General Radford at JA17MVP on Twitter, BuffaloFAMBase, which we simulcast on, presented by 26 Shirts. We really appreciate you taking time out of your night tonight. DT, you already know, man. We in the building. You know I had to get this shit off my chest, man. If somebody say something about 14 one more time, just do one more again. I feel like Pinky. I feel like Pinky next Friday. Say something again. Ooh, say it again. Say it again. Ooh, I feel like I'm gonna go crazy. I'm gonna go crazy.
We need that dog. We need that dog on this team. We need that leadership, and that's what it's going to take to win a bowl.
Embrace him, man. Embrace him. You'll miss him when he's gone, man. You'll miss him when he's gone, man. Embrace it, man. As always, these were my Bills thoughts said out loud. Spread love, not hate. Fellas, hit them with a go Bills, man, in the night, man. Go Bills, man.
Go Bills.